Good morning. My name is Chip Kilduff, and I am from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, which is in upstate New York. If you start in New York City and go up the Hudson River about 150 miles, you'll come to my school. And I live right in that area, just a little bit north of there. So I'm from Saratoga Springs, New York, and at home I have my wife Kathleen and my son Connor. He's 5 years old, comes up to about my thigh. And also visiting right now is Connor's grandmother, who's Yaya. I have two sisters in Connecticut, and my father is also in Connecticut. One sister has two children, Christopher and Mariah, and they're both crazy teenagers about your age. And my other sister has two children, Kara and Greg. And Greg is now in college, and Kara is just graduated from high school and is charting the course for the rest of her life at this point. I have probably about 100 relatives in California and the western U.S. In about the 1950s, a large part of my father's family moved to California, so I have a lot of relatives out there. I am in Antarctica working on a project to kind of characterize the biology and the chemistry of streams and lakes in the dry valleys. And the idea is that these water bodies have biota, have microbes, and the microbes both produce and use organic matter as food, and I'm helping to study the organic matter. And so one way we do that is we collect water samples, and we use reverse osmosis technology to remove the water from the water samples, leaving just the organic matter. And then it makes it easy to study it with various techniques. We shine light on it and see how it reacts to the light. We put it through different analyzers, and we try and characterize its composition and behavior. This is my first season in Antarctica. It's very exciting. I was looking forward to it for many months. And for about the last week, I have been in the lab getting our system ready and preparing the system and testing it. And yesterday we did our first run. It looks like things are working well, so that's good news. And tomorrow we head out into the field, into the dry valleys. And so that's great news. That's really what I was looking forward to, coming here and seeing the mountains and the geology and the geography and the topography and all that kind of stuff. So let's see, so far, I guess I've been most impressed by the glaciers, really. They're beautiful, there's a ton of them. You can see them from your bedroom window, and it's pretty exciting. So I've seen glaciers before in kind of the mountains of Switzerland, in Glacier National Park in the US, and they're very nice, but there's something. The glaciers here are older, and you can really visualize the glacier as kind of a river of ice. Both from the airplane, you can look down and see it, looking across McMurdo Sound, and it's just beautiful. And so hopefully we'll see more of that in the dry valleys.
Hello again, everyone, back in the real world. Chip is wonderful enough to join us today, and I have 10 questions written by students at Langley Middle School and others from the South Woodby School District. So here you go, you guys. These are your questions once again. The first one is from John, and John wants to know, what is your favorite food?
I'm going to divide it by meals, okay? My favorite breakfast food is what's known as a German apple pancake, which is kind of a big, kind of really eggy pancake with slices of apple in it, and you put syrup on it, and it's fantastic. And there's a restaurant in my hometown that makes it, and there's also a restaurant in Detroit, Michigan, that makes very good German apple pancakes.
But, you might want to mention the name of the town, or the restaurant in Detroit, because Lindsay Nippenberg, another Polar Trek teacher, lives in Detroit.
It's, I think it's called the Pancake House, actually.
Perfect, that's easy to remember.
Yeah.
Nice. So do you have a favorite lunch as well?
I think my favorite lunch and dinner are some kind of fish.
Okay.
So fish and chips I love,
Nice.
and basically any kind of fish, fried, baked. If we're near the ocean, say in Rhode Island or something like that, I'll get some lobsters or some shrimp, and so that's pretty much.
Nice. That sounds delicious. Next question is also from John. He was very curious. He wants to know, why did you want to go to Antarctica?
I like to have new challenges for using my system, and so it's fun to go to a new place and just encounter a bunch of new types of problems. And actually, that's not the fun part. The fun part is solving the problems and having the system work after you've encountered them. And so I've done most of my work in the U.S. and most of it in the eastern U.S. And to go to new places is it's interesting and it's fun.
And hopefully later on today, you guys, I'll get some video of the system that Chip built actually doing its job as well. It's pretty fascinating. He was probably best friends with a lot of his hardware store employees by the end of this, because he was there so often building his RO unit. Next question is from Sydney. Sydney would like to know, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, how would you rate Antarctica in livability, or how fun is it to live there?
It's a lot of fun. So there's two different kind of environments. One is the McMurdo Station, which is like a little town, maybe about 1,000 people. It's sort of like the cross between a town and a college campus. And so you can wake up in the morning, and within 10 minutes, go to the galley, and breakfast is already made for you, and you have coffee already made, so you never have to cook for yourself. It's very convenient. There's a gym here, there's a library, you can watch movies, and so in that sense it's pretty livable. The kind of the strange part is you can't really leave. So you're a little bit trapped on the station. There's a couple hikes you can do which are very nice, but there's only 2 or 3, so it's very nice and livable but contained. And then, so that's McMurdo Station. And the other perspective is when you fly to the field camps and go camping and work out in the field. And so I haven't done that yet, but my first taste of it is the snowcraft school, which they call the Happy Camper School. And you go out and you do camping, and you learn how to make your own water and make ice walls and snow walls and set up tents and use radios and stuff like that. And that's really fun. It's a lot of new stuff. It's outdoors, and that's great. And so tomorrow I'm heading out into the field, and we'll do more of that.
And what kind of housing did you live in when you were out at Happy Camper?
So at Happy Camper, I was in the Scott Polar tent, which is these, you may have seen pictures, it's kind of these pyramid-shaped yellow tents. They're actually probably about 8 feet tall.
I think so, yeah.
Something like that. They're pretty tall, about 8 feet by 8 feet square. You sit on the snow, and if you stay in those for a long time, you can actually make benches, and you can make bunk beds and have fun with that. My stay is going to be fairly short. I'll probably just put a mat down in the snow and do it
And
there.
they're called Scott tents because Scott, when he was down here on his expeditions in the early 1900s, they think he actually helped design the Scott tents. Yeah, prior to coming down here. So he spent all of his time. So it's pretty cool for us to be living in these historical style tents as well.
Evidently, they're designed to be really strong in the wind. So they're kind of a shape that cuts the wind no matter what direction it comes from. They're really stable.
Awesome. All right, Alexa's got a couple of questions for you. She wants to know how you connect with your family while you're down here.
Mainly, I guess mainly by phone. So I give them a call. We are 6 hours behind, plus 1 day.
Yeah.
And so if I call at 8 in the morning, it's about 2. and if I call at about 2 here, it's about 8 o'clock there. So that's kind of my window for calling, between like 8 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. And what's weird about the phones is there's a few second delay. So it's actually kind of hard to have a conversation because you're not sure when the person is finished talking. And what I may propose is to start using some of the radio protocols. So like when you're done talking, you say over, and then the people know that you're done, and then they can, it's their turn to talk.
Mom, Dad, and everybody, I might have to start using that one myself, because we're always like, oh, you go ahead, oh, wait, no, oh. Yeah, that makes sense, yeah. All right, the next question from Alexa is, do you get to see your family often while you're down here?
No, we haven't set up any of the video conferencing or you know, kind of like the Skype type thing. So I haven't seen him. I've sent back pictures of myself, and because my 5-year-old told me that he forgot what I looked like.
Oh,
so
here he is. He's still around.
So I sent back some pictures. So so it'll be a few weeks. I'm here for about 3 weeks, so it's a long time, but not that long. So hopefully it's okay.
Yeah.
And this
Say
video.
hi. Hi, Connor.
Yeah.
Hi, wife. And Grandma. Next question is from Malika. She wants to know, and you sort of already answered this, where do you live when you're not in Antarctica?
Yeah, so Saratoga Springs mainly, and work in Troy, New York, and so we spend a lot of time there. And you know, weekends I visit Connecticut and Rhode Island and places like that.
Very nice. For us, I mean, we're just not East Coast.
Right.
From Whidbey Island, it's a whole new world for us.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool to know an East Coaster out here.
And then this winter we're going to spend some time up in Lake Placid, where they held the 1980 Olympics.
Nice.
And
Skiing.
do some skiing and ice skating. And
That's awesome. And Connor's got his own little skis now?
Yep. Skis about this long.
Fun. Awesome. Ryan wants to know, what is the coldest temperature that you've been in since you got down to Antarctica?
Probably about maybe 10 degrees Fahrenheit. So it hasn't been too cold. I think it's actually colder up in New York and New England and Washington. That may change when we go to the dry valleys, but it's, you know, it's summertime here, and so it hasn't been that cold. I expected it to be maybe 10 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's actually that or a little warmer typically. And part of the reason is the sun is always shining. And usually it's been fairly clear, and so the sun's hot. We have a nice ozone hole here that keeps the UV nice and elevated, so the sun's warm.
Gives us our sunburns.
And so yeah, it's really not that cold.
No, it's been beautiful lately.
Yeah.
I'm loving it. Let's see here. Dylan wants to know, when did you get so interested in science and why?
Probably since 5th grade. We had a good science teacher, Mrs. Jones.
Nice.
We did a lot of nature trail stuff, and I guess that's when it started.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Do you remember your first subject that you loved the most in science, or the first topic?
I guess kind of just natural science, so I guess it would be macrobiology.
And now your focus is more on...
Now, yeah, environmental systems and kind of how the natural system relates to engineering processes, mainly treating water and wastewater. And so both of those, on the one hand, if you're treating water to drink, the natural environment affects its quality and how you have to treat it. And if you're treating wastewater to discharge into the environment, what you do to the wastewater before you discharge it affects the quality of the environment after you discharge it. So looking at that kind of relationship.
Yeah, interesting. All right. Two more questions for you. Lucy. That's a great name. It's after my dog. Or I guess my dog's after this, Lucy. Is it cold when you sleep in a tent?
Lucy, I slept in a tent at Happy Camper School and basically froze my butt off all night. And I'm not sure why. I'm a little worried about that, actually. But it was cold. And so you have good sleeping bags. You have fleece liners that go in the sleeping bags. And the sleeping bag comes up over your head. And you can wear your neck gaiter, wear your hat. And I did most of those things, and I was still cold. One tip somebody gave me is to take a headband and kind of put it over your nose, so it kind of warms up the air that you breathe. And so I'll try that.
Did you have the hot water bottle?
I didn't do the hot water bottle.
So they give us just regular old Nalgene drinking bottles, but they come in like an insulated thermos type thing, and so you put in hot water and before you go to bed at night, and then you tuck that into your sleeping bag as well, and it sort of helps keep you toasty as well.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to try a few of those things.
Yeah.
I'll let you know in the second interview.
There's actually no snow, or very little snow out in the Dry Valley, so you won't be sleeping on a snow base, so hopefully that'll help out a little bit too. Yep. Hopefully. I'll keep my fingers crossed for you. I'll be nice and warm here in town. Last question is from Kendra. And Kendra, he already sort of answered this, but I'll let him elaborate a little bit more. Do you have any kids at home?
So Connor's at home, and keeping busy. I think today he's playing hospital. We just got a new snowstorm, so he's making snow angels. And one thing we learned in Happy Camper School is how to cut snow blocks and make walls and forts and shelters and even igloos. And so I'll go back and teach him how to do that.
Very cool. Any final words? Any hellos, goodbyes, see you soon that you would like to send out to the real world?
Well, looking forward to seeing everybody back home, and I'll take a lot more pictures, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah. Thanks, you guys. Keep them coming. I want more questions on the Ask the Team section of the Dissolved Organic Matter page. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.